You are sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic at 7:30 in the morning, clutching your coffee, and you look over at the lane next to you. There is a guy in a pristine $80,000 pickup truck, or maybe a brand new luxury SUV. He looks like he has his entire life figured out. He looks successful, he looks wealthy, but here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to talk about. There is a massive statistical probability that the guy in that truck is completely broke. He is drowning in debt, stressed out of his mind, and his bank account is probably hovering dangerously close to zero. He is a victim of what I call the fake rich illusion, playing a game of financial theater where the admission ticket is his entire future. My name is Wesley, and today we are going to talk about the largest wealth-destroying trap in the modern middle class. We are going to talk about the car payment epidemic. If you want to know why you are working 40 to 60 hours a week but never seem to get ahead, the answer is probably sitting right in your driveway. Because right now, transportation represents the second largest expense for most people, right behind housing. And it is one of the most effective wealth transfer mechanisms ever created by the modern economy. Let's look at the brutal math. The average new car payment in America is now over $700 per month. In fact, recent data shows many payments are pushing over $800 a month. People are signing up for loans that stretch out for 6, 7, or even 8 years just so they can afford the monthly premium. Over 5 years, a $700 payment is $42,000, and that is not even including insurance, maintenance, and depreciation. But let's think about what you are actually buying. You are paying $800 a month for an asset that loses 15% of its value the absolute second you drive it off the dealership lot. It is literally like paying rent on something that gets less valuable every single day. Dealerships know exactly how to play psychological warfare with your brain. They do not want to talk to you about the total price of the car. They just ask you what monthly payment you are comfortable with. This exploits a massive weakness in human psychology. Your brain absolutely hates big numbers, but it loves small numbers. Behavioral economists call this payment bias. Once the salesman gets you thinking in terms of $30 a month here or $50 a month there, you end up spending way more money than you ever intended. They sell you on the heated seats, the premium sound systems, the advanced technology, and the luxury interiors. Suddenly, that massive purchase feels manageable because you are only thinking about the monthly payment, not the crushing total debt you are taking on. But you are paying exorbitant interest on features that add absolutely no real financial value to your life. You are essentially paying thousands of dollars in interest just for the privilege of driving a depreciating asset. Let me break down a real-world example that will make you sick. Let's look at someone making $75,000 a year. We'll call her Sarah. Sarah walks into a dealership and falls in love with a $35,000 SUV. The salesman runs the numbers and tells her she qualifies for a $650 monthly payment over 7 years. Sarah thinks this sounds reasonable because she can technically afford the monthly hit. But here is what Sarah didn't calculate. Her total monthly transportation costs are now over $900 when you include insurance, gas, and maintenance. That is nearly 18% of her gross income, almost double what financial experts recommend. Sarah is now car poor, which means she looks successful on the outside while struggling financially on the inside. Fast forward 3 years. Sarah's SUV is worth about $22,000, but she still owes $28,000 on the loan. She is trapped in what is called an underwater loan, meaning she owes the bank more than the car is actually worth. If she needs to sell it due to a job loss or a financial emergency, she would have to come up with $6,000 out of her own pocket just to get out of the loan. Meanwhile, her co-worker Mike, who also earned $75,000, bought a reliable used Honda Accord for $15,000. He put $3,000 down and financed $12,000 over 3 years. Even with higher used car interest rates, his monthly payment is just $395, and he will have it paid off completely while Sarah still has 4 years of payments remaining. Here is where the math gets really interesting. Once Mike pays off his car, he continues making that exact same $395 payment, but he makes it to himself. He invests it. Over the next 10 years, assuming a conservative 7% return, that money grows to over $68,000. Mike built nearly 70 grand in wealth. Sarah just built a relationship with her mechanic and her lender. This brings us to the most important concept in personal finance that nobody talks about. The hidden cost of buying too much car is not just the monthly payment. It is the opportunity cost of all the money you could have been investing instead of sending it to the bank every month. What would happen if you took an average $500 car payment and invested it into a basic index fund earning an 8% annual return? Over 30 years, that exact same money would grow to over $600,000. Let me say that again so it sinks in. Over $600,000. When you sign that financing paperwork for a luxury vehicle, you are not just buying a car. You are literally trading your future financial freedom for the temporary satisfaction of driving something impressive today. You are choosing a shiny piece of metal over a massive retirement fund. You are choosing to work years longer than you actually need to. And there is something even more sinister about this high-interest lifestyle debt. It traps you in what I call the financial hamster wheel. You are running as fast as you can, making payments every month, but you are not actually getting anywhere. If you are sending hundreds or thousands of dollars every month to car loans and credit card companies, you cannot afford to take an entrepreneurial leap. You cannot afford to invest in a real estate opportunity. You cannot afford to walk away from a toxic boss. You are stuck in whatever job pays enough to service your debt, even if that job is slowly killing your soul. So why do we do it? Why do so many smart, hard-working people willingly walk into this financial slaughterhouse? Because we have a bizarre relationship with cars in this country. We have somehow convinced ourselves that our vehicles are extensions of our personalities rather than just tools for transportation. People buy cars to project an image of success. They buy them as status symbols to impress people they don't even like. We have created this bizarre culture where people are financially drowning but look amazing doing it. But here is the reality check that might bruise your ego. Nobody actually cares what you are driving. When you roll up to a stoplight in a nice car, the person in the next lane isn't looking at you and thinking you are a genius. They are looking at the car and imagining themselves in it. You are paying tens of thousands of dollars to be a walking, driving advertisement for a brand. The people who actually build wealth, the top 1%, the millionaires next door, they do the exact opposite. They understand that true luxury is having options, not having stuff. Some of the wealthiest people you will ever meet drive cars that wouldn't look out of place in a junkyard. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet, famously drove the exact same car for decades. Why? Because wealthy people view cars purely as tools to get from point A to point B, not as investments or reflections of their self-worth. The truly wealthy have mastered the difference between productive debt and consumptive debt. Productive debt helps you acquire assets that generate income or appreciate in value over time, like a mortgage on a cash-flowing rental property. Consumptive debt is borrowing money to buy things that immediately lose value. Every dollar they do not spend on a depreciating status symbol is a dollar they put to work buying assets that actually grow. They would rather have their money compounding in the stock market than sitting in a driveway gathering rust. So, what is the escape plan? How do you fix this if you want to actually build wealth instead of just performing wealth for your neighbors? The rule is brilliantly simple. If it depreciates, do not finance it. You need to completely separate your ego from your transportation. Stop going to dealerships and asking what the monthly payment is. Start paying cash for reliable used vehicles. Look for a 3 to 5 year old Honda Civic or Toyota Camry. At that age, the original owner has already taken the massive hit on the depreciation. Yes, buying an $8,000 or $12,000 used car is boring. It won't get you any likes on Instagram. It won't turn heads when you pull into the parking lot at work. But you own it completely. The insurance is dramatically cheaper because you aren't forced to carry the maximum full coverage required by a lender. The registration is cheaper, and when something breaks, you just fix it instead of trading the whole car in for a brand new $700 payment. That boring, older Toyota will drive you to the exact same job, the exact same grocery store, and the exact same life as a $40,000 luxury SUV. The only difference is you will arrive at your destination with money in your bank account instead of crushing debt hanging over your head. And before you tell me you need the latest safety features or the newest technology for your family, let me remind you that people survive decades of driving without backup cameras, lane departure warnings, and built-in touchscreens. Your parents and grandparents drove cars with manual roll-up windows and no airbags, and somehow lived long enough to create your existence. I think you will be completely fine driving a 2018 sedan. You have to make a choice. You can either look rich or you can be rich. But unless you are already a multimillionaire, you cannot do both. Every time you say yes to an unnecessary upgrade, you are saying no to your future freedom. Every time you see someone driving a brand new expensive car, I want you to retrain your brain. Do not feel jealous. Do not feel like you are falling behind. Pity them. Realize that they are likely sacrificing their future freedom, their peace of mind, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in investment returns, all for that new car smell. They are renting their lifestyle, while you are buying yours. You are playing a different game. You are playing the long game. You are optimizing your life for freedom, not for appearances. You are taking the money that everyone else is giving to the banks and the car dealerships, and you are using it to buy back your time. The driveway is where middle-class wealth goes to die. Refuse to park your future there. My name is Wesley. If you are ready to stop playing financial theater, kill your ego, and do the boring work that actually builds lasting wealth, hit the subscribe button. Stay liquid, stay rational, and I will see you in the next one.